Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, August 1st, 2025. I am Dave Biddle, flying solo on today's show. J-Book is out of town, unable to do the show today, so you guys are stuck with me. It's not going to be the longest show we've ever done because I have to get my butt over to Ohio State's open practice. The entire practice, again, today, open to the media, so looking forward to that. We're going to go over what we learned yesterday, first day of camp. What did we glean yesterday from the attacking national champions? There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot and a little, if that makes any sense. You're not going to, you're not going to know like depth charts. Any questions you had about who's, is this guy ahead of this guy? That's not going to be answered. But there were some cool things that we learned as well. And it's good to know. I want to cut to the chase here. For those that haven't heard, Edric Houston's injury was just they were just taking precaution. Okay, they're not concerned about it. It's not considered long-term. I think maybe he turned an ankle. And good to know that it's not serious with Edric Houston, not even close. All right, so a lot to get into. We'll start off by telling you guys about cornbread hemp and a great deal you guys can get. Are you ready for your healthy happy hour? Cornbread's THC gummies and seltzers offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. These are America's first USDA-approved organic THC edibles, proudly grown in our neighboring state of Kentucky. The gummies have 10 milligrams of THC per gummy for just the right dose. Cornbread's gummies and seltzers are Farm Bill compliant and legal for adults over 21. There you go. There's a look at the seltzer right there. I'm sure you guys have no idea what a beverage in a can looks like, but now you do. But look at it, 25 calories. There you go. So yeah, if you're looking to cut down on alcohol or whatever it might be, or just cut it out, and you still want something that's going to give you some relaxation, it might be for you. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give cornbread hemp a try. Again, they've created the first ever USDA organic THC gummy that is 100% legal. As a special offer for Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners, you can get 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts at checkout. Again, that's cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for 30% off your first order. Cheers to a healthier happy hour. Speaking of happy hours, Patrick Murphy, myself, and I think Steve's going to join us too. We're going to have Pat's going to have his happy hour, and I'm going to be the guest, and Steve's going to be the guest. So we're going to also have a show about what we learned, about the second day later today. So that'll be sometime this afternoon. We'll go live. All right, so good to know Edric is not hurt, because not hurt seriously. It'll be interesting to see how much he's doing today, if anything. Again, they'll probably, even if it's very minor, but it's sore, they'll probably hold him out. Why not? Really good. I mean, we've been talking all the offseason, man, like who are the most valuable guys, right? Who could we not afford? Not who's the best players. We know the best player is Jeremiah Smith and or Caleb Downs. They're like 1A, 1B. But who can they not afford to? Because God forbid they lose J.J. Smith. You still have Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis and Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter and Bryson Rogers. Still, you don't want to lose the best player in college football, obviously. But we're saying all offseason, man, you can't afford to lose Edric Houston or Caden McDonald. I said it was like a toss-up. I believe it was Mike Schaefer asked me the question on a recent podcast, and I said I think it would I'll have to go with a tie between Edric Houston and Caden McDonald as the guys we cannot afford to have injured. And then, of course, first day of practice. And I felt bad because I was thinking just my gut feeling from what I saw and what Coach Day said that it wasn't serious, but I didn't want to say, it's not serious. And then it turns out Ohio State puts a release out. He's out for the season. I had a good feeling it was not serious. But I also felt bad for fans that were like reading our reports and are like, we did say, hopefully it's not serious. Yeah, it's not like he got carted off. But still, like a lot of fans are like, are you serious? Like first, I'm sure a lot of you guys were the same way. First day of, they're not even hitting, and he has a non-contact drill or non-contact injury. Oh, geez, is he going to be lost for the season? No. So that's great. And I will add this, and things can change like this in football, as you guys know. But they enter camp very healthy. And say, well, of course they're not. Of course they're entering camp healthy. Yeah, but I mean, every summer somebody, does a little too much in conditioning and comes into camp banged up, or somebody who missed spring and was expected to be ready for camp is not ready. It happens every year. And this year, there was one guy working on the side, and that was veteran walk-on quarterback Mason Maggs. Mason Maggs, he could be like he's not going to do this. He could be almost like a Tim Tebow coming in. He's not going to do that. Like a Tim Tebow light. He's not as big as Tebow, but he's definitely not afraid to put his nose in there. So he was the only one on the entire team that was working on the side. Now maybe we'll go out there today. Practice is kicking off at 9, which is why this is not going to be a super long show. Maybe there'll be more out there today, but hopefully not. So they enter camp extremely healthy, as healthy as I can ever remember. That was my 24th first day of camp yesterday. Geez, I'm old. That was my this is my 24th year on the beat. So that was my 24th time covering the first day of practice in camp. Crazy. So we'll see. This is the healthiest I can remember them being. Again, that can change fast. All right, let's go through some other things. Quarterback. So it's important to point out that the way they're doing it is, and you should get on Bucknuts to read our practice report. We have this laid out, but I'm going to lay this out for you. And this is nothing new. They did the same thing last year, and I think the year before as well. So Coach Day is splitting the team up. And this is defense too, basically into 2 teams right now. And it's not ones versus twos on one side and ones versus, it's not like that. And then twos versus ones on the other side. It's like a mismatch of, so you'll have, like, let's say a Julian Sayin side. So you'll have like 2 or 3 starting offensive linemen with Julian Sayin, 2 or 3 projected starting offensive linemen with Lincoln Kienholz on the other side. You'll have 1 or 2 starting wide receivers with Julian. Like, he had Carnell Tate, and the rest of the guys he had were like Mylan Graham, some of the projected backups, Bryson Rogers. Whereas Lincoln Kienholz had J.J. Smith, Brandon Ennis, and then some of the projected backups like Quincy Porter. Same thing, running back, was, you'd have James Peoples on one side, C.J. Donaldson on the other. You'd have Bo Jackson with C.J. Donaldson. You have the other running backs like Samuel Dixon. We're not calling him Sam Williams Dixon anymore. He's just going by Samuel Dixon. So then he'd be over there. Same thing with the defense. You'd have Caden McDonald on one side, Edric Houston on the other, and Eric Mensah was the first guy to go in. Read into that what you will when Edric got banged up. Thought Eric Mensah looks good, redshirt freshman D tackle. So they're mixing guys up. You have Sonny on one side, Arvell on the other side. Actually, I think Sonny and Arvell might have been on the same side. But for the most part, it's just like ones and twos on offense versus ones and twos on defense on one side, and the same thing on the other side with some projected third stringers mixed in as well. So we're not getting any idea of who's ahead of who. Now, and Coach Day said, the quarterback battle, he's not ready to say his timetable. He did say he'd like to get it, by at least by, the week of the Texas game. He said, we'd like to know the week of the game who our guy is. They don't want to have a 2-quarterback system. But he didn't put a timetable on it. Like he didn't say, I want to know like 2 weeks into camp or anything like that. I'm sure he wants to know, but he didn't say that he's going to announce it. I would guess it'll probably be that the week of the Texas game he'll announce that, and I think it'll be Julian Sayin, because as Coach Day said himself yesterday, when they were talking about Will Howard, he said that the entire locker room knew going into camp that Will was the guy last year. And even though at this time last year, Coach was saying like it's a battle between Will and Devin, if the entire locker room knows, I mean, J.J. Smith, we know what he said about Julian. We know what all the guys that, I know they're not in the locker room anymore, all the guys that are at the combine this winter were saying, guys that are now in the NFL, they were all saying Julian's the man. Jeremiah Smith said a few weeks ago, Julian's the man. So if the locker room knows, the locker room knows. So if they, but that being said, as you guys know, I like how Coach Day handles it. I would do the same thing if I was a coach, but why make it public? He knows who his guy is, and I'd be shocked if it's not Julian, but we shall see. I think the quarterbacks, including Tavian St. Clair, had good days yesterday. All of them had ups and downs, but I think the good outweighed the bad. Again, they're playing quarterback without having to worry about a defensive end coming in and taking their head off, but they don't have to worry about getting their wide receivers killed, because even if they throw in a little too high over the middle, you're not going to – the DB can't, hit the wide receiver. But they look good. I thought overall they looked good. Good definitely outweighed the bad. Oh, yeah, and yesterday was very unique. First of all, it was like 70 degrees when we got out there, with very low humidity, and it was outside. So we basically had the first half of practice outside, and then like almost split right in the middle, second half of practice inside because lightning came in to the fold. So it was almost like split right down the middle. I think that's the first time that's ever happened since. There's been times I've covered practice where we're outside, we have to go inside, but it's maybe toward the tail end or right at the beginning. This was like split right down the middle. That was a first. So half the practice inside, half the practice outside. Yeah, I'm going to go through some of the guys. Now, listen, with over 100 guys on the team, I'm going to leave some guys out here, but just some guys that I noticed, and I'm like, okay, he definitely had a good summer. I can see from looking at this guy and that. Oh, look at this guy. So I just took copious notes, just jotted down guys. I was like, okay, this guy had a good summer. So I'm going to start with Jarquez Carter, true freshman D tackle, listed at 288. Although the new roster comes out today, Jerry is saying they gave us the new roster yesterday, but it had the exact same height and weight of everybody from spring. So if you were here in spring, your height and weight was exactly the same, even though we know a lot of weights. Heights might, are going to be likely the same unless somebody grew an inch or they didn't have them accurate last year, but the weights will change. But yesterday we get the roster, the weights were all exactly the same. We're like, what's going on here? You're telling me Edric Houston's still 270 pounds? He's 295. So we're going to find out today how big some of these guys are. And I like how Ohio State is pretty accurate when it comes to height and weights on their official roster. You can't say that about many football rosters or just sports rosters in general. They're very accurate. So Carter's listed at 6'1". I buy that. He's not a tall dude. 288. Man, he looks thicker than that to me. Because like at first, when I first saw him, I wasn't that close to him. But when I first saw him, I thought it was K-Mac. I'm like, damn, I'm like, look at K-Mac. And I was like, that's Jarquez. That's not K-Mac. And obviously K-Mac's bigger. And I'm not saying Carter's I don't even know if he's over 300, but man, he doesn't look 288 to me. Doesn't look 288, looks at least 295, probably 300. And that's plenty big enough for a guy that's 6'1". He's got just tree trunks for legs. He's quick. So I thought Carter looked good. Looked like he had a good summer. I thought Ethan Onianwa looked good. He came in spring, lost the weight, but it's easy to put the weight back on. Right, he didn't put the weight back on. He looks good. He's out there moving around. Man-child out there at 6'6". Again, still listed at 357 on the official roster. I'm sure that'll change today. I think he's down to 335. C.J. Donaldson. You see C.J. Donaldson out there with the rest of the running backs. He looks like he's 6'6" or something. He's actually 6'2", 6'2 and a half, 6'3 maybe. Hey, Eddie George was 6'3". So tall running back, but does a good job of getting low to the ground. And he's another guy that I think had a good summer because he kept the weight off. Looks good, looks quick. So he's physical. I don't think he's going to lose any of that physicality that he has by dropping that weight. He looks quick. He looks explosive. So he had a good summer. James Peoples always looks chiseled out of granite, so that didn't change. Bo Jackson looked good to me. He's very, very, very explosive. CJ Hicks is definitely bigger as we would expect him moving to defensive end. I'm curious on what he's up to. Will Smith Jr. looks a little bigger. He's listed at 288. I would guess he's 295. You got some of these 3-tech D tackles that are kind of all in the same boat there, right around 295, I think. And just these linebackers are just absolute specimens, as we know. Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, this is nothing that I really learned yesterday. We already knew this. Sonny and Arvell, you look at them out there, you're like, those are some big defensive ends. Oh, they're the linebackers. All right, let me do another ad read here. I'm already going to make this show. We have Pat and Steve over there. They can hold it down during stretching until I get over there. All right, let's move right along. I think Steve and Pat, with both of them there, I think they can handle covering the stretching period, and the entire practice is open. So if I miss the very first part when they're doing very light drills, I think we'll be okay. All right, I think you guys will definitely be okay if you try Viori. Oh, love Viori, and we can get you guys a fantastic deal. Viori, if you haven't heard of Viori, which I'm sure most of you have heard of them because this is a company that's blown up. Viori is stylish activewear that's designed to look great beyond the gym or beyond whatever activities you guys are doing. So whether you're meeting up with friends, you're running errands, whatever it might be, heading to the office, Viori is awesome. This gear is great for playing tennis or pickleball or just lounging around the house watching other people play sports on TV. like our Buckeyes, for example, still basking. Again, we're talking style and comfort, which I think is a great combination. You have high style and you have great comfort. I like it. As for the comfort part of the equation, these are the softest joggers on the planet. They're lightweight. They come with stretch fitting. And again, they're highly stylish. All the good stuff. Again, definitely not your average jogger. Here's the deal we can get you guys. Viori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they're offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at Viori.com/Bucknuts. It's VUORI.com/Bucknuts. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but you will enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75, and you'll get free returns. Go to Viori.com/Bucknuts and discover the versatility of Viori clothing. 20% off plus free shipping. Viori.com/Bucknuts. Let's move right along here. So, yeah, well, those are the guys I think changed their bodies probably the most. Man, if a guy like Jarquez Carter can just be like, oh, okay, we have a fifth guy. You know, we got the starters. We got maybe two of the back. I think if I had to bet, I think Will Smith Jr. and Mensa will be on the two deep. But if Carter can just be that guy that, okay, we have some more depth if we need him for a few snaps, that'd be huge. Because we've talked all ad nauseum about the depth problem at D tackle, but that could be mitigated real quick if Will Smith Jr. steps up, which he looks good. Mensa steps up, he looks good, and Carter and some of the other guys. Jason Moore's out there practicing. You got Tywone Malone out there. Maxwell Roy's now part of the team. Odom's out there. Maxwell Roy, I'm curious what they list him as when we get the roster today. They list him at 285, which is what he was listed at during his recruitment. He looks right around there to me, maybe a little bigger. I don't think he'd be under 285. He looks like, if I had to guess, 290. Roy. So I don't think not just getting here just now, or at least in June, I don't think Roy's going to play a lot as a true freshman, but could be wrong. I'll tell you what, guys, this depth at defensive end is damn impressive. Really impressive depth at defensive end. I mean, which is crazy. You lose two studs with Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer. And then I look at these defensive ends. I mean, Kenyatta Jackson looks good. He's another guy I jotted down that looks good. Eric Mintz, I also jotted down. I mentioned him earlier, but Kenyatta Jackson looks good. Kenyatta is straight out of Central Casting for like a rush end, 6'6" with long arms and quickness, and now he's bulked up. Still very, very long. He doesn't overly bulked up, but he's definitely filled out. And Caden Curry, those guys have waited their turn. I think they're going to have good years. I don't think they're going to be necessarily Jack Sawyer and JTT, but I don't think there's going to be a huge drop-off. I think those guys are going to be good players. But I love the depth. I mean, Bo Atkinson's going to challenge those guys for a lot of playing time. Logan George is going to challenge those guys for playing time. CJ Hicks is going to have a role. I don't know how big, but I bet you they'll carve out a role. That's 5 guys right there at just defensive end. Okay, then you still have like some young pups like Zion Grady. You have Epi out there wearing the number 44, making us all think, why is JT Tuimoloau still out there? No, that's Epi. He's wearing the number 44, the exact same hairstyle as JT. So when he has a helmet on, he looks just like JT. Little slim down version of JT, maybe a tad taller, because Epi's listed at 6'5", 241. Man, this depth at defensive end. And that transitions right into the depth and just the overall talent in the tight end room. I don't think I've seen a tight end room ever at Ohio State this good top to bottom. With Max Clare and Jelani Thurman was out there looking good yesterday. I mean, blocking. He was out there just hammering people. I mean, as much as you can in Thud. And Bennett Christian, you can tell he's ready to roll. Kazimierek, they call him the best blocking tight end in the country. Jeez, I like the Roberts kid that is a true freshman. He looks good. He looked good in the spring as well after enrolling early. Bringing Max Clare, I would have liked the group anyway, even without Max Clare. And Max Clare was the best tight end in the transfer portal and one of the best players. Period. It's crazy, my friends. This tight end room is awesome. Excuse me. Offensive line. I don't remember an offensive line this deep. It's also, I don't remember an offensive line this deep as far as the players and the coaches. As I'm sure like most of you know, if not all, they have like 3 offensive line coaches because they have Tyler Bowen, the offensive line coach and run game coordinator, who I really like, who looks like a giant version of Scotty Scheffler. It's like a 6'7". It's funny. If you guys have seen Tyler Bowen, he looks like definitely you'll know what I'm saying. And Bowen, I really like Bowen a lot. He's not a screamer, but he's very active, very engaged. You can just tell he's a teacher. Now, he's not afraid to get animated, but he's not a guy that's out there like rah the entire time. Coach Charlie Dickey is that guy. He's definitely the most vocal of the 3. He mostly works with the centers, and then have another quality control coach, like senior analyst with good experience with Coach Johnson, who's he was working mostly with looked like the left tackles yesterday. So guys like obviously Ethan Onionwa. You had Ian Moore in there. You had Carter Lowe in there working with Coach Johnson. So having 3 offensive line coaches is crazy. But you know what else is crazy? This offensive line. I'm telling you, man, I love the starters. And then my projected backups would be, let's see, they would be like Ian Moore would be one for sure. Philip Daniels would be one. Justin Terry, the guy they got from West Virginia in the spring portal, he'd be one. Gabe Van Sickle would be the other guard. And then Josh Padilla at center. Okay, I didn't even say Carter Lowe, and he's going to be a stud here one day. He's not even in my top 10. I just love the starters left to right with Onionwa, Montgomery, Hinsman. These guys look great, and they picked up that valuable experience last year. Shabola, Saraveld. I love that starting 5, but now the Buckeyes have depth too, and 3 coaches to help. And there's actually another guy who's like, I don't know if he's a grad assistant or a quality control, who also helps out. So you got 2 senior analysts. You got who were just offensive line coaches. It's not like they were like GAs that they brought in. These guys are guys that have experience at the high level of college football coaching offensive lines. Love this offensive line. Love the linebackers. I could go on and on. Okay, I got to do one more. Ad read. Tell you what, you guys got. I mean, these Ridge wallets are ridiculously good. Love these Ridge wallets. We can get you guys a great deal, and they're extremely functional. You can put 12 cards in them. You can get your cash strap back there. It's also a great conversation piece. People are going to be like, "What is that?" You're like, "That's my wallet." There's like, no way. Yes. Now, if they listen to the Bucknuts Morning 5, they'll be well aware of Ridge wallets, and you guys are buying them because they continue to return as a sponsor, and you should buy them. And again, as I was saying on Wednesday's show, I would recommend getting one for yourself and then getting one as a gift. Somebody has a birthday coming up or something else you're celebrating, or just put it away. If you're like me and you're like, oh, I'll eventually get to Christmas shopping. Like, there's no way I'm going to do it in August, but I'll get to it. And then like the December 22nd rolls around, you still haven't done anything. When you get yourself one, get another one. Just put it aside. And then when you need a good gift, that would be a great gift. A little Ridge wallet. All right. And we can get you guys a great deal. For a limited time, our listeners at the Bucknuts Morning 5 get 10% off at Ridge by using code Bucknuts at checkout. Just head to ridge.com, use code Bucknuts, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Bam. They're not even asking me to say, hey, buy 2, but I don't think they'll mind if I'm asking you guys to buy 2. I think they'd probably appreciate that. Or 3. Get a couple of gifts. Buck Rational's out there. He will, because he's a very, just very gracious, person. He's probably out there. He probably has like 10 Ridge wallets like on file, just waiting to give out to people for the holiday season, and maybe just at Ohio State tailgates in general. All right, so what else did we glean yesterday? I mean, I think this kicking competition is very, very, very real. I'm very curious how that's going to turn out. We're talking about the kicker. But seriously, I like bringing this Jackson Corville in. I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to win the job. Hot take, I know, right? Caliente. But I will say this. Best case scenario for Ohio State is both of them look good in camp, but Jaden Fielding beats them out. Here's why that would be the best case scenario. It wouldn't be like Jaden Fielding beats them out, but they're both kind of and he beats them out. I'm saying both of them are really good in camp at Fielding. They chart everything, but Fielding barely beats them out. Why would that be good? Well, A, because Fielding would be kicking well, and B, then you could redshirt Jackson Corville because played 2 years at Ball State but never redshirted. So he only has 2 years left. You could redshirt him this year. And I think they would redshirt him this year because it's not like you would need him as the kickoff specialist. Fielding can do it except if he's kicking 3 balls into the stands like Joe Boserman throwing footballs into the stands and decapitating people. He did have that where he kicked. I've never seen that in football ever. But he was dealing with it. We found out later he was dealing with an injury. It's either a groin or a hip. Probably not the best thing when you're trying to kick a football. But I think this is a real competition. I'm curious to see how it pans out. And, they have a competition at punter, too, with the 2 Aussies, with McGuire and McLarty. But with McGuire being a year older, having a year of the starting experience under his belt, with McLarty having a huge leg, but being erratic sometimes, I think they'll probably do the safe thing and go with McGuire. But the kicking battle is what I'm like most interested. Like they gotta have a place kicker where you're like, all right, yes, anything can happen, but we're confident this kid can just make it. I don't care if it's a 50-yarder. I'm not talking about like 60 yards, but if it's 40, 50, whatever, 45, we're confident he's going to make it. We're not 100%, but we're damn confident he's going to make it. They need that. So as bad as the offensive game plan was against Michigan, they still would have won the game if Fielding hit 2 chip shot field goals. So let's get a field goal kicker that knows that can have a high percentage. That would be good. All right, I let this go too long. I got to get my butt over to the Ohio State University. Hey, keep it locked to Bucknuts. We're going to have full coverage. We still have our practice report up from yesterday. I covered a lot of the stuff that I wrote about, but not everything. Patrick Murphy included his thoughts in that thread. Steve Hellwagon. So get on Bucknuts, the front row message board, and read our practice report, and then get right back on there today because the entire practice is open. Like I said, it's not like one of these where they let us in there and they give us some scraps for like 3 periods, and then we have to leave and wait for practice to end. Oh, and we're getting Brian Hartline and Matt Patricia after practice today. I want to leave that out. We got Coach Day yesterday. We're getting the coordinators today. So we'll have a practice report. We'll have stories, videos on what the coaches have to say, the coordinators have to say. And again, I'll be with you guys later with Patrick Murphy for his Bucknuts happy hour, talking about what we learned today at practice. And then Steve Hellwagon, I think, might be with us as well. So we got you guys covered, man. It's Friday, and we got you covered all day long. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. J-Book will be back with me next Friday, and really appreciate you guys very much. I know you have a lot of choices, and we appreciate you guys making the Bucknuts Morning 5 a part of your routine. Cannot thank you guys enough. So thanks, guys. And again, keep it locked to Bucknuts. We're going to have wall-to-wall covers today. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, great weekend. Go Bucks, still basking.